Rhonda.
I'm Jim.
We're Heartiness Approach.
And glad we are. We've had a lot of amazing response from videos over the last couple of days. So with video now and then this afternoon, our Live at 5, because it is Thursday and it's time for the Live at 5. I'm excited about this one.
I am too. There will be a live at 3 for all of our 12 weeks to Heartiness. And you can get there through the same link that you did last time.
Yep.
So many comments just touched our hearts in response to our video where we were talking about free retirement advice. Mm-hmm. But there's one particularly that we're going to talk about today and build our video around it. This person, I don't know, his name's out there, so I'm just going to use it. His name is Rich. And Rich has, I'm going to read his because it just touched both of our hearts. Our dream is to be able to own an X marks the spot place. In our early 60s with zero savings, being self-employed, renting, and with very meager social security to look forward to when that finally happens. The task seems daunting at best. We have many skills and are well suited to homesteading lifestyle, but may never be able to get there to use them. At times, more often than I care to admit, it seems that our lives are drifting away from us towards the very uncertain and bleak future. Day at a time, we do the best we can, and I hold on to the dream, even if I can never grasp it as our reality. So, I want you to know that we have felt hopelessness a couple of times in our lives, more than a couple of times. So I wanted to talk about leaving Colorado Springs and the hopelessness that we felt before we did that. And how when we left Oregon, we never dreamed we'd really be able to own something.
Okay, we haven't talked about this ahead of time, so I'm not sure where you're going. I may interject things that don't go in the same direction you're trying to go.
That's fine. This is completely spontaneous except for what I just read.
Oh, okay. Because as you're suggesting that, I want to see what direction you're going with this. To see if I'm totally off on a tangent.
You want me to go first?
You're first.
All right. I remember feeling so hopeless. I was working a job, oh goodness, 70 to 90 hours a week. He was working a job 70 to 90 hours a week.
We weren't at the office. We weren't at our job.
It was at home.
But it came home with us.
No. I would start doing charting as a home health nurse with a humongous assignment at 6 in the morning, and I would end at 11 at night.
Yeah.
And then I was on call.
I mean, we did other life things in between, not many.
But and then I was on call, and he was on call. So one of our phones was always ringing in the middle of the night.
I was at the office, kind of normal hours, but then there were always
broken things
or upgrades we needed to make. So it was either on the phone, working with people as we were making the changes, or fixing the problems that had gone on. And I was supporting folks in Europe and supporting folks in the Asia Pac region. So my day was pretty long, as you can imagine, to match that.
He was an IT network engineer managing a global-wide conferencing call center.
Yeah.
And I was a home health nurse with 4 different assisted livings that I was managing going in.
So it didn't, if you were to just watch us, we would go to work, then we would come home, relatively normal, maybe a little bit long day. But what you didn't see was that I was on the phone before I went to work doing stuff, and after we got home, I was working some.
And I was at the computer working.
Now she's doing all of her charting and everything that had to go on.
And on call.
The days were long.
And we knew that we weren't going to be able to handle that for long, but there was no...
Well, emotionally, we weren't handling it very well then.
So we finally just chucked it all. literally chucked it all, bought a motorhome, and that's when we ended up weaving around, and with a long story, ended up on our first homestead in Utah that was our son's land.
We jumped.
We did. We took a major leap of faith and just jumped. We didn't have savings. We didn't have an income. We gave up our income.
Right.
And then I could always, as a nurse, you can always work. And then, there's little bits and pieces.
One thing led to another, but it's not the recommended course of action for everybody. But as we looked at what was in front of us, we tried to figure out solutions, and based on what we understood, based on what we were envisioning, for us, we had to escape where we were, and almost anything was going to be better. And that's what we did. Now, is that the right thing for everybody? Maybe not. I mean, a lot of risk there, a lot of risk. And we are open to risk. We accept risk because that experience and others like it have taught us that sometimes when you're backed into the corner, you've got to take extreme action. We are strong believers that if you always do what you have always done, you will always get what you always got. And based on that, if we can't find a solution that's going to work, then it's time to get radical and make a change. And it couldn't get worse than it was. And it didn't. It actually
got a lot better.
It got better incrementally. So it turned out to be a good choice. It wasn't all easy. It didn't just immediately become better and easier, but we were willing to work. We were willing to do what it took.
So then I worked and he ran the homestead. And then we won't even go into why we left that homestead, a long thing. We ran out of water for one thing. And
you weren't going to go into it.
I know. But so I'm not going to go into it. Anyway, we headed to Oregon. And
you worked.
I worked, and we had another homestead. Now, in between there, we were managing an independent living community, and I have
when we first got there, home health for you.
Yep.
And I was doing a few things, but nothing significant. No. Just trying to.
And we were in an apartment.
Yeah.
And we were like, we'd sold all of our homesteading stuff, and we're like, we're done with that. We never get to do that again.
So I was actually attempting to get something going on without having to go out of the home and make those kinds of commitments that we knew would take us down the same route. I wanted to find a way to get us both out of that. That's what I was looking for. And because didn't want her to continue the home health
rat race,
just that treadmill that she was on, long days again. And I was looking, and that's when we began working at the independent living community.
Now, we've had one of our viewers that said they would love to hear more about that, and I think we'll do a video just on that.
That'd be worth talking about.
It's an amazing experience that we had, but we also burnt out.
Right, it was...
After 2 years. We were 24/7.
Yeah.
And we loved it, but we burnt out. We loved it.
It was good and bad, and...
He takes a deep breath. So then we had an opportunity to move down to a rental piece of property that we lived in down in the central part of Oregon.
Once again, she's working as a nurse. This time not home health.
Nope.
Much better situation.
Yeah. I only worked 2 or 3 days a week. It was a much better situation for me. And again, you ran the homestead.
Right. Our financial needs were really limited at that point, so her working a little bit was able to give us what we needed, and we produced our food where we were.
We are bad savers. So Rich, we didn't have a lot of savings. We had savings when we left Oregon, but they got sucked up over the 6 months when we were looking for a property.
And we anticipated that.
Yeah. So I don't know if you're a veteran. I know there's so many programs out there to get into a home. Don't do the, what is it called?
I don't know.
you know, where everybody went under because this was your interest rate and then this was your interest rate.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you don't want anything to be, you want it to be just whatever, easy. However, when we left, we didn't know what we were going to do. We had no clue. We didn't know if we had buying ability. We didn't know what we were going to do.
Yeah,
We thought, well, we'll just go out and we'll get something.
we knew that where we were was not sustainable, with not able to have the animals and the other production things we wanted to do there. And with the rent going up, the combination of the two made it where it wasn't sustainable, and the prices of land, both to rent or to own, were
in Oregon or like California,
increasingly out of our reach. So we knew we had to do something. Once again, we were backed into a corner and we're saying, okay, closer, but this isn't going to work. We've got to go find it. And we didn't know what it was. I mean, we struggled for several months, couldn't come up with an answer, and the only answer that we were having was, leave here, we'll go figure it out, which is kind of scary. So we put all of our stuff in storage and we went to figure it out, and we figured it out. Now,
we had so much help from above, so much help. We had one other person who wrote to us. I'm not going to say the name and I'm not going to tell the entire story, but they are our age also and want to move somewhere, and the doors are opening up for them. And I am telling you, when you put everything you have and your heart into what it is you want to do, the doors open up for you. Because we came into this knowing we've got land, we're going to give food away, we're going to help other people, we're going to figure out how to share what we've been given.
Those of you who are religious, you know the descriptions and the terms and the way that we talk about the blessings that come and so forth, and they do. They truly do. For those of you who aren't, I give you an example of someone who, in a non-religious context, someone that we've read a lot about, and this is Mark and Kristen Kimball. Kristen being the person who wrote the book The Dirty Life,
which is
one of our favorites. She's got to share this. They were looking to have a farm. Mark believed that he was surrounded by this, what did he call it? A magic circle that surrounded him, that there, when he knew what he wanted, the way would open for it. And he knew that they would get land
and that someone would let them have it for free
within 12 months.
9 months.
9 months, that's right. So they went to, of all places, upstate New York. They're in an area called Essex. And within 9 months of being there, of doing their looking,
well, they were actually staying closer down to the city.
Yeah, that's right.
And then a friend of a friend of a friend, and
anyway,
that's the thing.
Long story, they have how many hundreds of acres there? They have a lot.
A lot.
They are feeding, they're providing, like through CSAs, full grocery, everything food-wise for 200 families.
You guys, I will link this down below, and it'll link through our Amazon, so we'll get a tiny piece of it if you want to purchase this book. I tell you, if you want to read a really good book, this sits by my nightstand. That's why I knew right where it was. I've read it. This is my 5th time to go through it. We've read it together. We cry through it. We laugh through it. And the good news is she's writing a sequel.
The point is, though, that if you really want something and you're willing to do what it takes to make it happen, I mean, they struggled and worked hard. They put up with some really difficult situations, even especially after they were given the land for using. If you're willing to do that, your desire is really strong, and you do everything else that fits along with it, you will be given opportunities.
I want to say one more thing. We absolutely love the support that we get. It's so life-filling for us. We have a lot of people that love us, and they're concerned for us. Oh, you're working too hard, or oh, I'm so sorry you have to do that on your house, or oh, I didn't see that you had to put up with that on your property. There's there's no place you can go that is Shangri-La. Heaven, and we'll all go there someday.
I think there's still a lot of work to do there. That's my opinion.
We love where we're at. All the hardships are molding us into this.
Let me say this. When we managed the independent living community, we were in our 60s, and the people who were there were older than in their 60s. Oh, there were some our age there. But quite often
our friends were 90.
Quite often they would tell us, don't ever get old. And we look at them and say, well, what's the alternative?
The alternative is that we die now.
So, okay, great advice, but in the same vein is when you have a situation of what you want, and it's going to be really hard to do it, and you have to work hard at it, what's the option? If we weren't here doing this, what would we be doing? Working our 90 hours somewhere, killing ourselves.
Perfect example.
Not any, probably worse off than we are right now, health-wise, financially, every way you can imagine.
Absolutely.
We'd just be struggling to get by in a different circumstance, nowhere near as enjoyable.
I didn't interrupt you. I just held on to it.
You did good. You still got it?
I don't know. One of them I have. What the alternative to getting old is to eat right. Real food, exercise, emotional wellness on a homestead. Number 2, may have forgotten that one. Darn.
You can get it. You can get it. Someday you'll remember. I notice it's getting dark outside, and there are some animals that need some attention.
I know. I just want you to know that there's hope out there for every single person to do what it is. I remembered what it was.
I knew she could do it.
When I went back to school, I was in my 40s, and Jim had been laid off twice in 1 year. And we're like, can I go to school? I've got these children. What am I going to do? And my whole statement that got me through school, I can be 5 years older without a degree or 5 years older with a degree. And guess what? At the end of that 5 years, I had a degree. You can be 5 years into your retirement without living your dream or 5 years living it.
Her going to school was transformational for her. I really have to say, within your life and in our relationship, that her not just starting but finishing, going all, she had to be in 2 different.
I had to start remedial, guys. Remedial math, remedial English, remedial everything. It took me 6 years.
It changed not just her, changed all
everything.
Different person.
I was super shy.
She took the wonderful person that was there before, and she burst the bubble that was around her.
Shy.
But that's the trick, is to committing to something and doing what it takes to make it happen. That's really what it is.
So Rich, you keep watching us. We're going to keep encouraging you. You will find a way, and paths will open up. Do not give up.
Be patient. It doesn't happen overnight, and we've had a few iterations to get to where we are, and we're
there.
99.999%
we don't have to move ever again.
Sure that this is it. Something could change. Who knows? That's how life works that way. But this is everything we've ever dreamed of. Everything we've imagined since we were brand newlyweds. This kind of a circumstance. And it fits. It's it. We got it.
You can too.
Thanks for watching.
Don't forget about 12 Weeks to Heartiness. Subscribe to it. And his
Regenerate, Don't Degenerate, lovely channel. Increasing number of people who are participating. Exercising 5 days a week. We have a good time. Not tough exercises. Great place to get in shape.
For those of you who do not know, he is a certified fitness instructor with a specialty with seniors, and he does a very good job.
We have a good time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.